Hello everyone and welcome back to a new series. In this series I'm going to be showing you how to make a simple FPS framework on Roblox. We're going to be covering all of the major topics like aiming, animations and shooting of course. And what you're seeing here is what we're going to be doing in part 1 of this series. Before this video starts, if you guys want to support me and want to have access to all of my project files, including the one you're watching right now, they will all be available on my Patreon in the $10 tier. Okay, so here we are in a new base plate, and the first thing we need to do is to get a gun mesh. So I'm going to go to the toolbox over here, home, toolbox, and I'm going to look for meshes, and I'm going to look for gun. I'm going to just type in gun, and I'll just pick a nice gun. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'll just resize this. Oh, I think you're supposed to hold Alt. Yes. I'll just resize it and make it about this big. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to group it. So Control G, to turn it into a model. And you can either do Control G or you can right click on the mesh and group as model. Okay, so what we're going to do next is I'm going to make sure that anchored is unchecked. Make sure that it is not anchored and that can collide is also unchecked. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add another part which will tell us where the front of the gun is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a part to the model, and I'm going to right click on the part. I know you can't see this, but just right click on it and a menu will pop up, and click on show orientation indicator. And now we know that the front surface is that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy the position of the gun of the mesh. So we're going to scroll down to position, and we're going to select the part and we're going to copy the position there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it to make it fit the size of the gun. Now I'm going to go to model here and I'm going to make sure that move is unchecked so that I'm able to move it freely. And I think, okay, I'm just going to make it this big. Okay, I think this is good enough. Actually, maybe it should be like a little longer. Just make it cover up the majority of the gun. Okay, now we're gonna make the transparency of this part to 1. Make sure that the part is fully transparent. And now we need to make sure that the part is the only thing that is anchored. So make sure that the part is anchored, and that can collide is also unchecked. So the part should be anchored, can collide unchecked, but for the any other part of the gun, anchor should be unchecked, but can collide should be unchecked too. Okay, so now I'm going to rename this part to primary, and I'm going to add a weld constraint, not a weld constraint. We're going to set part 0 to the primary and part 1 to this other to the other mesh. Okay, now I'm going to show you how you can add a part which will be our aiming part. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing that we did with our primary part. I'm going to add a part. We're going to call it aim. And then we're just going to set its size to 1, 1. Maybe that's a little too big, so maybe 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. I think that's good enough. Now I'm going to right click and show orientation indicator again, and it should be facing the front. Why is my camera so fast? Okay, now we need to select the gun mesh again. We're going to copy its position again, and we're now paste it for it to be the position of the aim part. Okay, now we're gonna move this up and just position this wherever you want your gun to aim from. I want my gun to be able to aim from here. I'm just going to, yeah, that's good enough. I'm gonna mess around with this later. I'm going to make the transparency 0.5 because I still wanna see it for testing purposes. And now we're gonna make sure that the aim part is not anchored and that can collide is unchecked. Okay, now we're going to add another weld constraint, and we're going to set part 0 to be the primary part and part 1 to be the aim part. So each time you add a new part or mesh or anything to your gun, just make sure that it is not anchored and that it is not collidable, and make sure that you add a weld constraint, set part 0 to the primary part and part 1 to the new part that you just added. Okay, so I'm going to call this gun, and I'm going to add a folder in replicated storage, and I'm going to call it guns. And I'm going to take this gun and put it there. Now I'm going to add a module script to this gun, and I'm going to call it config. So that stands for configuration. Just delete everything and do return. I'm going to return a table. Now this table will have we're gonna do offset, and it's going to be cframe.new. For now, it's just going to be 0, 0, 0, but you'll see what we're gonna do with this later. We're gonna mess around with these values later. That's going to be the offset from the camera. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a module script to replicated storage, and I'm going a folder, sorry, and I'm going to call it modules. Now I'm going to add a module script to this, and I'm going to call it FPS. This is going to be our main framework. Okay, so what we need is we need a couple of references to some services. So the first one is going to be run service equals game get service run service. Then we need replicated storage equals game get service replicated storage, and then we need players, which is going to be game get service players, and then we need user input service equals game get service user input service. Okay, now we need a couple more references. The first one is going to be a reference to the player, so local player equals players.localPlayer. Now we need to do local view models, and we're gonna create a folder in the workspace, and we will just call it view models. Okay, so I think this should be in uppercase M. So view models equals workspace wait for child view models, and now we need the camera itself. Local camera is going to be workspace.currentCamera. Now we need a couple of functions. So the first one is going to be local function. The first one will be called position view model, and this will take the gun which will be a model. So I'm just going to do model and configuration, or just config. Now we need another function, but this time it's going to be a module function. So function module.equip gun, and that's going to take a gun name, which will be a string. Okay, so now we need now we don't need functions, we need some events. So user input service dot input began connect function, that's going to take the input and game processed event. And now we need user input service dot input ended this time connect function, again input and game processed event. Okay, now what we need to do is, I think we're gonna start with the input. So I'm going to have a variable up here that will be is aiming. So if the player is aiming, we want this to be true. If he is not aiming, we want it to be false. So when input began, what we're gonna do is if game processed event, then we're just going to return. And the reason what this does is, so basically this will only run if we are not, for example, chatting using the chat box. So it won't detect input if you are using the chat box or anything like that. Okay, so now I'm going to do if input dot user input type equals by the way, these are two equal signs. It's just that my font turns them into one long equal sign. So equals enum dot user input type dot mouse button 2. Then what we're gonna do is aiming equals true, and we're gonna go down here and we're gonna do if just copy this. Mouse button 2 is just the right click, by the way. Then is aiming is going to be false, and also we need to copy this, paste it there, and we should be good to go. Now what we want to do is make the equip gun function. So what we need to do is okay, I need to think a little. I'm going to create a reference to the guns folder in replicated storage. So local guns equals replicated storage, colon wait for child guns. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do local found gun equals guns, and just do colon find first child and do gun name. And we're gonna do if found gun equals nil, then we're just going to return. So we're gonna stop there. We're not gonna run what's going to be after that, and we're gonna do local gun equals found gun colon clone, and we will do found gun, or I mean gun, sorry, dot parent, and it's going to be view models, the view models folder in the workspace. Okay, now we're gonna call the position view model function. So position view model, it will of course take the gun and the config, which will be require, and we're gonna do gun dot actually found gun dot configuration dot config. I think it's just called config. Yes. Okay, now we need to make the position view model function. Actually, before we do that, I wanna create a connection over here. So local gun connection equals nil, and we're gonna try to call this module. Okay, so we're gonna add a script to start our player script. It's going to be a local script, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do task.wait maybe like 5 seconds or 3 seconds. And by the way, this is just a testing script. It's not going to look like this in the final game. We're gonna do local FPS equals require game.replicated storage dot modules colon with child modules colon with child FPS, and we're just going to do FPS dot equip gun, and it's just going to take the gun name. So we're gonna just do gun, and I want to see what's gonna happen. Let's just play the game. Okay, so after a couple of seconds, we have view models, we have the gun, which is right there. Okay, that's a good thing. What we need to do now is make the position view model function. Now, you need to really pay attention here, because this part is quite hard to write. It's going to be quite a long function. But what we're going to start off with is we're going to do gun offset. So local gun offset is going to be config dot offset. So we're just accessing this offset right here. And then we need to do local target cframe equals, and we're just going to do cframe.new. And now we need to get the last camera cframe. So local last camera cframe, and it's just going to be camera.cframe. And after that, we're gonna go down here, and we're gonna do local sway offset equals cframe.new. And then we need to do local sway size, and we're just going to do 1, and local is walking is going to be false for now. Okay, so I think we have all the variables that we need. Now we need to do gun connection equals, I'm going to do run service dot render step connect function, and that will I can't type, and that will take delta time, or we can just do dt, but I don't think we're gonna have to use that anyways. So we're gonna do a local character. The character is going to be player.character or player.character added wait. We're gonna do local humanoid. We're gonna do if character equals nil, then we're just going to return, and then we're gonna do local humanoid equals character find first child humanoid. Now we're just going to do if humanoid then, and now that I think about it, might as well just do if character then, and then just paste this in. Okay, so the humanoid is there, so what we need to do is just check if humanoid. We're gonna check if the player is walking, so if humanoid.move direction dot magnitude is greater than 0, then is walking equals true, else is walking equals false. And down here, we're just gonna print is walking. I wanna see what's gonna happen. Okay, so it works. Right now, is walking is false. And if we are walking is true. If we stop, is walking is false. Okay, so we know that that works. Now we're gonna go back into the FPS script. And what we're gonna do in here is, so now we need to calculate the aim offset, which is how much we need to move the gun with in order to use the aim part. So what we're gonna do is local aim offset, and I found that that should just be gun dot aim dot c frame. So the aim part that we have right here, the c frame of that, and we're gonna inverse it. So call inverse and multiply by camera dot c frame, and we're gonna multiply that by c frame dot new, and we're just going to have an arbitrary value in here. I chose 0.7. And yeah, that's going to be, oh, where's the gun? What does it say? Gun dot, okay, so this should work. I don't think that's that big of a problem. Gun dot aim dot cframe colon inverse multiplied by camera dot cframe. So, and by the way, cframe colon inverse just does this. So if you had, for example, cframe dot new 5 minus 2 3, it will just turn it. If you inverse this, it will just give you cframe dot new minus 5 2 and minus 3. That's all it does. Okay, so now we're gonna have some sine waves and some cosine waves. So I'm just going to do a local walk sine wave. I'll just give you what worked best for me, equals, and so the walk sine wave, I found that this works, looks good, but you're gonna have to mess with those. And local walk cosine wave, or just cos wave, is going to be, and let me just copy this. So this is what worked best for me. Then we need walk sine rotation, and let me just copy it. This is what worked best for me. Now we need the walk cosine rotation, and it's just going to be this. Okay, so just copy that and move on to the next step. So we're gonna start by calculating the sway offset. So when you move your mouse, you should have a nice little sway effect. So I'm going to do local camera rotation equals, and actually I think it would be better if we just do local x comma y comma z equals, and we're just going to do camera dot c frame colon to object space, and we're gonna do last camera c frame, and we're gonna just do colon to orientation, and I'm just going to put that in parentheses just in case. And what I'm going to do is sway offset, and we're gonna set that to sway offset colon lerp, and we're gonna do c frame dot angles, and we're gonna do math dot sine and x divided by 2. Then we're gonna multiply the whole thing by sway size, and then put a comma after the how can I scroll? Okay, why can't I scroll? Okay, that's good. So then put a comma after the parenthesis here, and we're gonna do the same thing again, math dot sine, and we're just going to do y divided by 2, and we're gonna multiply that by sway size, but for the z it's just going to be 0, so just do comma 0. Okay, so let's check if we did anything wrong, because I feel like we did. Yes, we definitely did. Comma 0.1. Okay, so we have this multiplied by, okay, so it's this extra parenthesis here that's not supposed to be there. Okay, so just do this. Try to copy that, and we're gonna move on to the next step. Now we need to calculate the walk c-frame offset. So local walk c-frame offset, we're gonna set that to c-frame.new. We're gonna do walk sine, no, I think it's called walk sine wave. Yes, walk sine wave, and we're just going to do walk cosine wave, cos wave, which stands for cosine, and then we're just gonna do 0 on the we're just gonna do 0 in the z. When I multiply that by c-frame dot from Euler xyz, from Euler angles xyz, and we're gonna do 0, 0, walk sine rotation. Okay, now we're gonna check if is aiming. Then we're gonna do walk c-frame offset. Walk c-frame offset. I'm gonna set that to c-frame dot new, and we're just going to do walk sine wave. We'll just divide that by 10 because we are aiming, and then we're just gonna do walk cosine wave and divide that by 10 too, and 0. Okay, so what this does is, so if we are aiming, it will set this to that, which is going to be a smaller sine wave. It's going to have a smaller bobbing effect when you are walking, because you're aiming, and yeah, that's pretty much all it does, really. Okay, so we are almost done here. What we need to do here is check. Okay, I need to stop dropping lines. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so if is walking, and not is aiming, and not oh sorry, yeah, and not is aiming, then, and we're gonna do target c-frame equals, and we're gonna do target c-frame lerp, and we're just going to do gun offset multiplied by, and we're gonna do walk c-frame offset, and we're gonna multiply that by sway offset. Then we need to do 0.1. Okay, and now we're gonna do else if not is walking and not is aiming, then target c-frame equals target c-frame lerp, and this time is going to be gun offset multiplied by sway offset, 0.1. Okay, now we need to do if is walking and is aiming, then we're gonna do target c-frame equals, and we're gonna do target c-frame lerp. Okay, I need to zoom in. Lerp, and we're gonna do walk c-frame offset, and we're just going to multiply that by sway offset, and we're gonna multiply that by aim offset, 0.1. Else if not is walking and is aiming, then target c-frame equals target c-frame lerp, and this time it's going to be just sway offset multiplied by aim offset, 0.1. Okay, so in here we're just going to do last camera c-frame equals camera.c-frame, and then we're just going to do gun pivot to, and we'll just do camera.c-frame multiplied by target c-frame, and that's pretty much all we need to do. Okay, so now if you go ahead and try this out right now, I don't think it will work yet. So as you can see, this is not supposed to happen, but the only reason why this is happening is because we haven't set the gun offset. So I'm going to enter my configuration here, and you're gonna have to mess around with these values over here. So I think for the z first, let's start off with that. I want that to be minus 1.6, and this I want to be minus 0.9, and I think in here I'll just put 0.3. Okay, so I'm going to try that out and see if it works. Okay, so I think to make this easier for you, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a a number value to the workspace, and it's going to be called offset x. I'm going to duplicate that, and it's going to be offset y, duplicate it, and offset z. So you have 3 values here, and what I'm going to do is go back here to the FPS. So each time you want to add a new gun and you don't know what to set the offset to, here's what you're gonna have to do. Go here. Where is it? Where are we calculating the gun offset? Okay, in here. I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to go down here, and I'll just set that to be cframe.new workspace.offset x.value dot value, comma workspace dot offset y dot value, comma workspace dot offset z dot value. Okay, now if you play the game, you're just going to have to mess around with those values and see which one works best for you. Okay, so I'm going to mess around with these values. I'll go to offset z first, or maybe y first. I'm going to set that to -1. Now with the offset z, I want that to be -2. Offset x, 2, maybe, no, 0.8. And I'll just go here. The z needs to be a bit more, 0.5 maybe 0.6. And y, okay, I'm just going to mess around with these values and I'll be back. Okay, so one thing that I figured out is that we had the aim offset wrong. So here's what you're gonna do: make sure that aim offset is equal to gun.aim.cframe colon inverse and multiplied by cframe by camera dot cframe. And in here we're gonna do gun offset dot y, which is this right here. Okay, and I think if we test that out, I'm just going to mess around with the values again. So x, I found that 2 I think worked best, maybe just 1. Y -2 and z -3. Okay, so and now if we just go to first person and we aim, as you can see, it does work. And if we move our mouse, we do have a nice sway effect. And if we walk, we have a really nice walking effect. And yeah, we can still aim while walking and everything works fine. And now what we need to do is just to remember those values, and we're gonna paste them here. So the y, I think we found that -2 worked good, and I think it was 1 on the x. And on the z, I think it was just -3 or 2. I don't remember correctly. I'm just going to go for -3. And I want this to be 0.8. And yeah, I'll try that out. Actually, that won't work yet. We need to go here and just do gun offset. Just remove this, paste it here. And do gun offset is going to be just config.offset, config, so config the offset. And also you can try something if you like it, but I think I do. You can in the aim offset, you can multiply that by gun offset.z. It might look good. And now we can play the game and see how it looks. Okay, I just joined, and let's see if it works. Yeah, I really like this. The aiming is clean. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for today's tutorial. If this helped, please subscribe, like the video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!